I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Councilman Simluka,
Here.
Councilman Garrick,
Here.
Councilman Accomando,
Here.
Councilwoman D'Arminio,
Here.
Council President Mazer.
Here, please rise for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by saying may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
Before we open the meeting to the public, Mayor, I believe you have a presentation.
Yes. Thank you. Joe Palazzati is our former fire chief from 2020 to 2021. Joe did an amazing job despite the fact that he had to deal with COVID right in the middle of all that. And he handled it marvelously. He did a great job. This flag is a flag that flew over our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. We wanted to present this to Joe at the installation dinner, but like everything else with the supply chain, we weren't able to get it. And then we wanted to present it to Joe at some of the council meetings, and for whatever reason, Joe wasn't available. Exactly. But we certainly wanted to give this to him in honor of his service. So, Joe, please come up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's my honor to serve you.
You're very welcome. Chief Joseph Palazzati, Saddlebrook Fire Department, 2020 to 2021.
Thank you very much.
Any other presentation? They do, okay. Mr. Brook, Lou, do you have a presentation you'd like to make? Or,
Bring all my peeps. For those of you who don't know, my name is Lou Varelli. I'm the commander at the VFW 3484 down the street. We just wanted to take some time out to thank the mayor and the council. They helped us out by taking care of our parking lot, which looked like the Grand Canyon at the time. So we just wanted to acknowledge the fact that you guys jumped in and helped us out. And I'd like to present this to Mayor White. And this says Saddlebrook VFW 3484 would like to thank Mayor Bob White and the Saddlebrook Town Council for your continued support of our post, most recently for our new parking lot. We couldn't have done it without you.
thank you.
Thank you. We all appreciate it. Listen, that's the least we can do. The VFW has always been great to the town, and you've contributed so much to the town, the police department, fire department, ambulance corps, Little League, so many things over the years. And we love you. We really do. You know, we want you to thrive, and anything we can do for you in the future, please let us know. I know it's been tough
Yeah,
the last few years, so.
Yeah.
but,
I'll keep you in mind.
you
Right
bet.
on, they will.
You bet.
So,
Thank you.
okay, thank you
Yes.
so much again.
Thank you.
It's for Fondy family.
The whole Stefani family here.
What can I tell you? We raised the kids.
Anybody else want
No,
to join in?
yeah,
Say
no.
something?
Lou, thank you you on behalf of the council. You're always giving back, and it's really a pleasure to work with you guys, all of you.
Thank you so much.
We're very fortunate to have you in our community.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, always. Joe, congratulations too. Thank you for your dedication to.
Hey, Joe, I think you left $2 in your budget left over.
Oh, jeez. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Have a motion to open the meeting to public?
Sure, motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is now open to the public. Anyone wishing to be heard, please come up and state your name and address.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thomas Van Winkle, 128 Lincoln Avenue, Saddlebrook, liaison to the Mayor's Youth Group. Just want to bring you a report for this month. Our big event that we helped out with was on Tuesday at National Night Out. So I do want to thank everyone who coordinated the event, including our Saddlebrook Police Department, our Sergeant Mark Buchak and Officer Kim Diaz, our officer in charge of Tolo. Also, thanks to Christine January for all her helping to plan everything, and the Mayor's Youth Group, of course, for the members who came out and helped. We had a few members in attendance who helped with things like the raffle and anything else that they needed. Also, want to give a shout out to our President Tyler, who really took a lead role in coordinating the Mayor's Youth Group and doing whatever is that they needed to do. He also brought us new radios, so I do want to give him special thanks for that. It really made communicating with everybody so much easier and just made everything a lot more effective. So I want to thank Tyler for all he did on Tuesday. Our next meeting is to be determined. We don't have a meeting date yet, but we are looking, as always, for new members to join the Mayor's Youth Group, especially as we get closer to the beginning of the new school year. We always welcome anybody from 4th through 12th grade entering those grades in September of this year. And that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for all you do, all the photos and everything. You made an amazing job.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Long time here that I haven't been here. Thank you all for the opportunity. Omar Rodriguez, Saddlebrook. I'm just curious. I was just reading the work session today, and it says some cannabis updates under items for discussion. Can you just give me a heads up if anything has been amended, changed, delete, or any updates? Anyone?
I'm sorry.
So
What are you looking at?
for? It's-
On the items for discussion on the work session,
Okay.
Oh, in the work session, okay. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
I'm just looking at number 2.
Hold on. It's a work session,
Cannabis.
okay.
Any changes, any updates, any amendments to the ordinances that has passed before, or any entertainment for anything? Because I know that in the past it's been a lot of hearsay,
Right.
and it's been a lot of talk,
Right.
but I haven't been clear because once you leave right here the resolution, the town itself doesn't know, and the town doesn't have any protocol on how to find out how the application is going, whether it can take 6 months, a year, 2 years, but the town doesn't know when the applicant will be rejected. If the applicant will entertain to apply it again, the town will not know, but in the meantime, they will be losing revenues due to the fact that it might take, instead of 6 months or 9 months, it might take 1, 2, 3 years. So is there anything in place that it has been entertained or been modified or amended in order to actually follow up with any of the 3 applications? Let's put it for class 5. I don't know about the cultivation, if the 3 resolutions have been gone out. So I'm just wondering,
Okay.
what is the status?
Mr. Suarez.
Sure, all right, so with
Yes.
regard to your first question about any amendments, there was discussion during the work session, but that's for the council to take action now regarding the manufacturing zone. And with regard to your first question about amendments, I don't know if that there is, or there may not be action taken at this meeting. There was a discussion during the work session regarding potentially amending the ordinance involving the manufacturing zone. And the second part of your question, because you had actually, I think you brought it up at the last work session, the work session before that, about the follow-up. And actually, we did discuss that, and our office is going to be following up with all of the companies as on a timely basis. So we're going to be sending them correspondence and following up to see what the status is with regard to their license, whether they got it or they were rejected.
If I may, just for the sake of on good wealth of the town, I know the resolutions went out. There is nothing in the process because it's a new subject, but at the same time, it will generate revenues for every single municipality that are in this program. So, is there any way that you can amend any of those resolutions that if they are rejected for X, Y, Z reason, they should notify immediately to the town? The town should take action whether they want to take a different applicant or give the option to reapply to that company again. Because then again, we'll have to wait for another year or two. In the meantime, the town will be losing the revenues, which means the percentage that they will have to pay to the town for all the sales that they will produce in a year. So I know it was kind of sketchy at the last meeting. It was a lot of ifs. But I don't know if you guys have discussed, and I don't know if I'm privy to that information. As you say, and with this I finish, that you don't know if that's going to come on onto the floor today, if any amendments or anything through the chair. I don't know if you can elaborate and just give us some more details if anything is going to be changed tonight.
But we don't have it on the, formally on the agenda.
So nothing is going to be discussed or brought up to the floor today?
Well, we may have discussion on it. No,
All right.
because the planner just got back to us, we just got their
Their input?
report this morning, and it just got back, and some of the council hasn't had a chance yet to read it.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Have a good night.
Anyone else wishing to be heard?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Maurice Gagliotti from Saddle River Court, along with Rich Caravaglia. We're both homeowners on that block. I know we've both called, and every homeowner on that block has called many, 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 many times, and I have pictures here. We don't know what else to do. We're at a complete loss. It seems to be, we know climate change. We know everything about climate change. We know everybody's been hit with it. We know Floyd. We know Irene. That was Mother Nature. You can't do anything about that. What's happening, though, so that you all know, is that every single time it rains now, I've got water above my knees. You've got canoes, you can have canoes coming down that block. I happen to be the middle unit. I think the Mayor White knows, I'm the middle unit. So what happens is that the water on both sides comes and it stops right in front of my house, Richie's house. 3 or 4 of us are getting hit the worst. The sewers just are not working. Something is extremely wrong with these sewers, and we're begging people, somebody, to just resolve this issue once and for all. Our cars were under this last rainstorm. I happened to be in Pennsylvania. Richie called me. I had to rush home. My car, it was up above the muffler, complete almost under. I've already lost 3 vehicles on that block. I've had over $150,000 worth of damage. My whole downstairs was wiped out several times. I'm into this place for thousands and thousands of dollars that I'll never get back. And now, on top of it, we're considered a flood zone that we've never been before. Can anybody help us? We're actually begging, and we'll do anything for help at this point. Does anybody have any thoughts, any comments, anything that can make us feel a little bit better? Can I show you some pictures of just this last storm? It's not normal. The big ones are normal, but these are not normal.
Through the chair, I think,
Yes.
Pete, you got some history on this, right? This Saddle River Court, this is
Yes,
Saddle River Court?
because it's a private development.
Right.
So
Can you
this is,
explain that?
that's my vehicle, that's my house. The water was way up above. This is the video that I won't even waste your time on. This is a street
Teacher,
And it's
ma'am,
way above. I mean,
miss,
I know a lot of streets are getting hit in town, but it just
ma'am,
seems that.
I'm sorry, I just want to chime in a second, just because I know you're showing the engineer, he's looking at it, but just so you know, from what I know, and Mr. Ladico knows a lot more, this is a private development, so it would
It's
be.
not a private development.
We've gone through this for years.
Well-
I've been there for 23 years. Honestly, that's something that we're very tired of hearing. It is not a public street.
It's not private street.
It's not private, it's public street. I don't know why this keeps on coming around and around and around. I don't see how any street in Saddlebrook can be a private street. I just don't know when you're paying $12,000 to $14,000 in taxes, how you can be, how it's said to us that it's a private street.
Well, I
Where
mean,
is the money going?
in many cases, you, like, you may know.
They were townhouses that
Yeah,
were
that's what I was
built
just gonna
back
say.
in the 80s, I believe.
I'm sorry.
They're townhouses in the
They
80s.
were townhouses that were
Yes,
built on a
piece of-
private piece of property. Unfortunately, we've done the research over the years. There's no dedication of that street, Saddle River Court, to the township. It remains part of the development of the townhouse development over there at Saddle River Court. And that's part of the problem because the responsibility determines if there is a problem with the drainage, if it's the township or the association.
Do you have a homeowners association or an association amongst, the other
Well,
people in the
we had
development?
an association in the past,
Right.
and the association really, everybody's pretty much doing, it's 12 townhouses. So everybody's pretty much doing their own thing. It's just that you can't be penalized, living in a town and paying taxes, $12,000, $13,000, without property, on a block that doesn't have any property, minimal property, you're paying that much taxes. It's not normal that we are penalized and subject to get flooded and destroyed, and that the town is just not, for you to say this, it's really very hurtful, that are we being penalized now, living in this town, that we're paying? Somebody's gotta answer this
You're not,
question.
I'll answer, I mean, you're not getting penalized if it's a private, development with a private, but your taxes, you have police service, right? If you call the cops, they come to your house, right, to service you, right? You have DPW service, you have other services, library, ambulance. These are the services that your taxes pay for.
And we have, DPW has been there to clean out the catch basins.
But the answers they give us are not that. They tell us it's a problem with the Saddle River itself,
Yeah.
that it's all plugged up with silt and the water has nowhere to go.
Sure.
And
So it backs up into
they
our.
say, okay, it's a problem of the state or the county to take care of the river. Meanwhile, every single rainstorm, nothing goes down the sewer, and the flies and the mosquitoes on the street, I've been trying to spray stuff, it's out of control. The water pools, it's 18 to 24 inches in the common areas, it's a joke. The sewers do not work. I don't know the guy's name who came out from the DPW. Nobody cleans the sewers. When we had Floyd and Irene, I had 3.5 feet with Floyd and 8 inches of sewer for Irene. So I had to change all the sheetrock twice in my house, the rugs, everything. Now, my taxes went up $4,000 in the last 2 years, and I get no services. There's no sewers, the sewers do not work. Now, I've asked Andrew, and I think he spoke to you, and I said, Andrew, the street, the bubbles coming up from the street, the air bubbles, every time we flood, and all you see is the street cracking. And I asked Andrew to find, right, Andrew, I asked to ask you to find out if we need a new street, who's paying for it? And Andrew came back, I think you came back and said to me, if I'm not mistaken, you said, it's a public street where you guys will pay for the paving of the street, but now you guys are saying it's a private street, it was never dedicated by the developer. The developer went to jail, okay?
Yeah.
He never dedicated the street properly, I'm sure, but
Do we plow and pick up garbage?
you didn't for the first 5 or 6 years. You didn't pick up anything, we had to pay for it. Snow plowing, street lighting, everything we had to pay for, all the services. And then the law, some
The law
townhouse
changed.
townhouse law was passed and said, we were being basically double taxation. You're paying, garbage pickup and street lighting and snow plowing. We had a private guy come down the street, and then all of a sudden, some law was passed, probably 10 or 15 years ago, that said, you know, you have to assume these responsibilities, and then we got garbage pickup and street lighting. The issue with the street is collapsing. I've actually gone out and put blacktop to fill holes that are this big in the street. I'm 68 years old. I can't continue to work, you know, trying to repair a street, trying to keep a street alive. You know what I mean? And it's just this private, whether it's private, public, we've been talking about this I've been there 25 years. We cannot get a straight answer whose property it is. You guys are saying it's a private street, but yet, if the street has to be paved, who's paying for it? The homeowners or the town? Who pays for it?
And then the property across the street. I've been down to town hall, I've been everywhere trying to figure out that property across the street. Well, they say it's not our property, they say it is our property. So if it's our property, then we can actually sit there and build on that property if it's our property. But then they're saying, no, you can't build on that property.
It's such a
Who's
great,
saying you can't build on the property?
it's such a great
Who
area.
says that?
The builder says he still owns the property.
Yeah, and that was
The
the.
guy that went to jail?
Yeah, the guy that went to jail says, I own that property, it's a separate lot, he was gonna build his house on that property. That's what that piece of property was, but he's unique, that guy. In the bylaws that we had, upon closing on each townhouse, each homeowner was turned over a 1/12 of those, 1/12 of that property across the street. So we all owned 1/12 of the street, the common area. He's sneaky, he comes up to people and he says, sign a quitclaim deed for your 1/12 of the property across the street. He knows he can't build on it because his bylaws say that the homeowners own 1/12 of that property. So he doesn't cooperate with anybody,
Right.
okay? So nothing could ever be resolved. Nobody knows, it's such a gray area, nobody knows who owns that property. According to him, it's his. It's his, but he can't build on it unless he tried to get me to sign a quitclaim deed. He tried to get everybody on the street to sign a quitclaim deed. We pay taxes on that property across the street. Now, the services we're getting in town, we're the last to be snowplowed in the town. Garbage, we're lucky if we get garbage pickup. We've called whoever the garbage.
Gata.
Gato. Gato, the guy didn't want to come down the street and make a 6-point turn, so he backed over the common property. They put, you know, a couple tandem wheels in the back. They put like 15 grooves in the common areas. Now, we called up the garbage department, they came and they put topsoil down and put seed down. Who's to say that they didn't, like, rupture the leach field that's a leach field. That's why I don't think it could be built on. I'm not really sure, I'm not an engineer. If you have a leach field, can you put a townhouse over a leach field?
I don't.
Years ago, I wanted to put everybody to chip in and we put 12 garages. And if you didn't want a garage, they said you can't build over there because it's a leach field. That's what I was told. I don't know, I've been there for 26 years, I still don't know who owns the property across the street. All I know is, after Floyd and Irene, every rainstorm, I got 18 inches to 24 inches of water in the street. And I got the greatest pictures, she does too, you should really see it, it's actually a joke. And somebody from the DPW came down, I don't know his name, he had long black hair, thick black hair, and he said we don't really know what to do. We don't know who's really responsible. Is it the Saddle River problem with the silt backed up in all the pipes? The last 3 rains, we've had 2 feet of water. What happens when it rains for 2 hours? It's over. I got another 3 feet in my house. I can't keep living like, again, to make matters worse, I just retired from UPS in 2014. My house wasn't supposed to flood once in every 500 years. Now I'm in a flood zone. So I wanted to sell my house and move to Florida, get out of New Jersey. And now my house is worth $100,000 less, I assume. I used to be a realtor. I lost like $100,000 on the value of my house because now I have to tell everybody it's a flood zone. I'm sure that's going to affect the price of my house when I sell it. And each year, I got raised $4,000 in taxes. So I got raised $4,000 in taxes and I have no services. where every rain, the sewer there's 18 inches of water in the street. The bugs, I've never seen bugs on the street like there are. They don't make chlorine anymore. I had some, I used it. I can't even deal with it. If I cut the grass, as I go over the grass, there's like these white bugs that fly out of the grass.
Who cuts the grass across the street?
We share, we do it,
Listen.
just so that it looks nice and presentable, we don't wanna be embarrassed.
Listen,
A couple of us, I'm with the lawnmower out there.
in 19, whatever we had that tax, with that time when the stock market crashed, whatever, 5 people lost their jobs. They stopped paying the maintenance. Okay? Seven of us were carrying the association. Some lady painted her door white and her stairs white, where there had to be conformity. She started a big argument. Other people stopped paying their maintenance. We actually stopped paying maintenance completely, which is probably illegal. There's no more association over there. So
But
I
everybody's
said,
maintaining it.
you guys were supposed to fine everybody on the street because the grass was this high. In the common area, they were having a parade a couple of years ago. What's that guy, Ambrosio came by and said, you're all gonna get fined $500 if you don't cut the grass in the common area. Now, I went up to this guy who's not here, he just had colon cancer and a quadruple bypass of his heart. He cuts 6 units, and I used to cut 6 units. We didn't get paid. We did it just because I don't wanna live in a pigsty, okay? I don't care about cutting grass, I can cut the grass, it's no problem. But picking up the leaves, like, I have 15 or 16 garbage pails, the green ones, that I put out every Tuesday for you guys to pick up. I'm doing all the landscaping, me and this guy Mark, and she helps out too, she's a big help. But nobody pays us, it's a joke. Nobody pays us to do anything, we've done it for 10 or 12 years that we haven't had an association. So, the whole block, everybody's so fed up with whether it's private or public street, we're paying taxes on the property across the street, but the builder says he owns the property. Well, how am I paying taxes on a piece of property 27 years if it's not mine?
I think it's pretty obvious that the town does not own that property, but we are giving you a lot of services there.
We're last with everything, I just wanna tell you, we've gotta go up the garbage.
Well, you mentioned you pick up the grass, right? I mean,
I do the grass.
but they pick the grass up, is what I'm saying.
Yes,
The DPW comes and picks the grass up.
Yes, I
Now, you
appreciate
said
it.
that we did have a little problem with our garbage hauler there for a while with COVID, and they were having trouble with employees, so, I mean, it was spotty all over town. Sometimes they missed. I mean, honestly, how many times would you say that your block
3
gets
times a year.
missed? 3 times a year? Oh, okay.
That's a lot.
Well, it's probably the average with the way it's been going. It's gotten a lot better, right? Recently, it's been better?
I think we should just move on, because in my opinion, I think the DPW is great, so I've had no problem with them.
We're not complaining.
I've had no problem with them.
I think it's a matter,
I think it's just a matter of the flooding water. Can
Right.
you help us? Can anybody help us with the sewers? That's really the bottom line. We
I
can
think it's a
just keep
matter
on
of, right,
going,
we gotta
raising it,
decide
raising
whether or
it.
not, I think it's obvious it's private, okay? Just by everything you said, and the attorney said, it's private. Now, we've helped you out with the other stuff, I don't know about this law you're referring to, but we do pick up the garbage, we do plow, right? The DPW picks up the debris, the grass and other kinds of debris, okay?
So the sewer, that's
Right,
our biggest
right.
thing.
And
Can
that's
anybody
the
help
thing.
us with the sewers? Can anybody come and just look at them and maybe they just need to be cleaned out a little bit better? That's all we're asking for. We're not
I think
asking
what we should do is have Bob, the engineer, look at it. But you know what, if let's just say it's something that's very costly. You know what, I mean, it's up to the council, myself, to decide, but,
let's get
I mean,
let's get to the facts and understand it once and for
Well,
all, because we're being hurt. Our townhouses are being destroyed, our lives are being destroyed.
I know you are, but legally, see, you're saying it from your point of view. And believe me, I feel for you, I feel for what you're saying. And you don't have to show me the pictures, I've seen it, I've witnessed it with my own eyes. Okay, I was a police officer here for many years, and I worked through floods, and I've taken people out in canoes and everything else. I understand, it's always been a problem there. You're right about that, and it is a flood zone. So, but it's a matter of legally, are we required to fix the drainage there? Probably no. But morally, do we want to help you people out to say we're gonna do it? What if it costs $1 million? You know, it's just a, you know, let's say Bob looks at it and he says, you know what, we need to change all the pipes and it's gonna cost $1 million. Now, legally, the association should pay for that. But then again, what does myself and the council wanna do? Do we wanna spend $1 million and have other taxpayers pay that? That's the issue. Really, that's it in a nutshell. I'm being honest with you. That's what everybody else, you know, you guys and gals, you're upset, obviously, and you have a right to be upset. But, you know, is it your problem or is it the town's problem? I'd like to help you out. I'd really like to help you out. But understand what the issue is. You know, you gotta understand the issue, because that's it. I mean, I don't know, believe me, I'm not that smart a guy. I'm certainly not an attorney, but, you know, it's simple. I mean, it's obvious that you own that property and you're responsible for the street. It's not a town street. So we've been willing to go as far as doing what we've done thus far, pick up the garbage, plow it, pick up the debris.
And we really,
Right.
really, really appreciate all that. We're just here because of the flooding and whatever you can do to help us out. To tell you the truth, if I knew that this was a private block, I wouldn't have been stupid enough to invest my money into a private block. I never knew that it was a private block. All these years. it's
You
gone
weren't
on.
original, right?
I'm not,
She's not, I am an
he's
original.
original, I am
the
not.
original, but according to the bylaws, you know, the builder was supposed to dedicate the street to the town. I don't know if he ever did that, okay?
But I mean, it just doesn't work that way, because the town would have to accept it too, right?
Okay, but it
Because
was,
would
I
the
don't
town
think
wanna
it was ever
accept every,
offered.
well, what I'm saying is, if the town were to do that for every street, private street, then, like the mayor's pointing out, then it's assuming more and more responsibility with regard to more and more infrastructure, right?
Okay,
Or
but you
more,
keep,
so
keep
that's,
raising taxes and who's getting the tax money? You are
Well-
benefiting by us, you know, paying $4,000 each unit, you know, so my taxes went from 9 to 13, you know, you gotta get some services back. If you're a homeowner,
I mean,
yes, DPW, yes, we get garbage pickup now, but for the first 8 or 9 years, we didn't. You had to pay out of pocket, and then you were still taxed. So, do you get money back because you were double taxed? No, that never happened. I don't know what the answers are. I'm very frustrated. I'm gonna tell you one last thing before I'm done. A couple of years ago, there was, Burke Street is the next street over, and there was this real shady guy that kind of lived in the last unit, the last house on the end, and there was a lot of drugs going on. So, the people who were staying at that house would come and park on our street. So, my neighbor called me and said, he's an old guy, he's 84, he says, Rich, can you call up? There's like 3 cars parked on the street. We don't have enough parking for ourselves, we got people parking for Burke Street and everything. So I called the police, they came down. The cop that came up to me said, who are you to call up? He said, this is a public street. I said, it's a private street. We actually had an argument in the street. I don't know who it was, and he said, it's a public street, you have no right to call up. I said, it's a private street. And then I started getting involved with Andrew, I used to see him, and I said, do me a favor, find out if it's public or private, and who pays the road, which I've been asking him for years, and he kind of told me he was gonna talk to Peter Ludico and find out who would pay the road if we needed one. Now, every time the road floods, the air bubbles are coming up right through the street. I'm talking for 20 or 30 feet. Sooner or later, the road's gonna collapse. It's already collapsed where I've filled in holes this big in the street by myself, going to Home Depot and buying that, whatever that blacktop is, and taking the tamper and packing it down. I'm 68, I can't continue to do this. But it's gonna be a real problem in the future. I wanna sell, I wanna get out of it. We can't sell because there basically is no association.
But people are selling on our block, but again, you know what, honestly, let's just, we have to stop.
Can I go
We
through,
just
because through
want
the
to
chair,
answer
I'd like
questions.
to suggest, ask the council something. Can we have, taking all of this into consideration, have Bob take a look at it, and let's determine maybe cleaning the
all we're
sewer,
saying.
catch
That's all we're asking
basins
for.
would be helpful.
Yes.
If it should turn out to be $1 bazillion, well, let's see first, we're kind of putting ahead of ourselves, right. Also, what I want to say, I remember when you bought your townhouse.
Right.
Do you know where he is, the owner?
He's in very poor health. I don't really expect him to live for more than 6 more months.
Have you ever pursued litigation against him to get him to?
No, he's as smart as a whip. He really is. He's one of those guys that knows both sides of the law, the evil side, the good side. You can't really.
You've never tried to take him to
No,
litigation?
because we never had we originally had an association where we used to pay $100 a month. Now, what townhouse association do you pay $100 a month?
This was way back.
This was way back then, but we had it was more like family. We all knew each other. We weren't looking to rip anybody off. Plus, services were cheap back then. I'm talking 27 years ago. But then, like I said, in 2008, when the stock market crashed, five families lost their jobs. Nobody could pay their mortgage, let alone their maintenance. And it just got ugly.
So all we're trying to do is get some.
We don't know what to
If they
do.
can come and
Every-
check out
every
exactly
rainstorm-
what we said.
Every rainstorm's a disaster.
I mean,
What
it's a
Karen said.
start. I think it's a start. I
think
think
it's
we'd
a
all
I
be
agree.
willing to have the engineer, certainly you're living under a stressful situation.
Yeah.
But Bob, if you would go out there and take a look, and let's go from there to see.
Okay,
Exactly,
what
that's
happens
all.
if it's a river? What happens, like the guy that came out, the DPW, guy's a nice guy, we talked for like a half hour, 45 minutes. He said, the problem is the river. He said, all the silt is filled up where the water, and I don't even know if the water trades from our street into the Saddle River, but he's claiming that it's all filled with mud, and it's really a problem, he says, because there's no place for the water to go. And listen, the rains we've had the last 3 times it rained, they're not even human. You know, it rains for an hour and a half. I mean, we get 3 inches of water in an hour. If that continues for 2 hours, I have 2 feet of water in my house. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting, especially at 68. I keep carrying the furniture from downstairs, upstairs, then you go back downstairs. I can't keep doing this, and I want to sell, but my wife says I want to live in Saddle Brook. Where are our kids going to go? I don't want to live here no more.
I remember, it had to be within the last 7, 8 years. Our DPW superintendent that retired, his name is Mike Calderon. I remember, I think you remember.
Yeah,
Right.
He actually went in there, took cameras,
Yes.
pictures.
Yes,
I would love for them to do that again.
yes.
Take pictures
He
and
was
say,
amazing.
he said, listen, there's no blockage here. That's what he said. He checked all the sewers. I asked him, there's a sewer on the common property right there, and I asked probably a couple of years ago, I says, can you clean out that one? You can see it's all jammed up. The guy said, oh, that's common area, that's your problem. And again, Calderon did everything.
Right.
He really did
So you
everything.
think the problem, so I vaguely remember,
He
but
said it was.
remember him saying there was something on maybe that common property. There was
No,
an
he
issue
said
there.
it was clear. He actually
That was
checked
it?
everything out. He said, listen,
Yeah.
I'm
I
really
mean, I can
surprised.
talk, Mike still lives in town. And,
Yeah,
Yeah, he still
he was
lives
yeah,
actually good.
I could
He
talk
was
to
a
him.
sweetheart.
Yeah.
So really, you know,
We're
whatever
just
you
looking for
do.
help. We don't know what to do. We really don't know what to do. It's such a gray area. Who owns the property, who doesn't own the property? Is it public, is it private? We don't know what to do.
And then when the police officers come down on the block, we love our police officers, we love our town, we love the people here. We get tickets on our block.
Oh, yeah, that was
We've
another
got,
thing.
every one of us has gotten tickets on our block, so how do you get a ticket on your block if
If
it's a private
street.
block?
How do you
They
take-
tell us
What do
it's
they
not a
get, what do they
private
get
block.
tickets for?
For the parking,
Angle
somebody,
parking or something?
We parked on an angle, people were parking on an angle, because there was no more spots, because people were parking from other streets. They would take trucks, a couple people had businesses and put trucks on the end, you know, so the truck will take, 3 or 4 spots. So my family parked their cars diagonally in the corner, there's like a cul-de-sac at the end, and 2 of them got tickets. I told them, don't do it, it's a law to park that way, just park along the curb. But
but
I'm
what
not
I'm
gonna.
saying is that we've gotten
Yeah,
tickets,
well, they
we've
probably,
gotten.
But how do you
probably
get
should
to-
not have.
How do you get tickets on a private street if it's private?
And then we came to a meeting with the tickets and they said, no, you should have gotten the tickets because it's a
public street. It's a public street, so
So,
well, I don't know what we're talking about. It's either public or private. We don't get an answer. I've been there 26 years. We fought this for 26 years. In the beginning, we fought with the builder a lot. But he was just such a wise ass. He really was. And we could never get anything out of him. And he
And when
says,
I bought-
when I get a chance, I might put a toll booth up at the end of the block, he said. He says, because I could do that. I said, look, just, and thank God he never built across the street. In fact, one of the guys did something, was picking up leaves or something, he came down the street and he said, what are you walking on my property for? Get off my property, it's private property. We've been paying taxes on that property for 26 years I've been paying taxes. How is it your property? Like, I could get in a fight with him just by looking at it.
and Mitch is the original, but I am not. I moved in 1999, I think. But I was never told that it was a private. How would I have even known it was a private? When you move into a town, you go to Fairmont, Saddlebrook, I buy into the town, I buy my townhouse. Who the hell thought that this could ever be even mentioned that this is a private block? How would I have known?
A Fort Lee cop bought Unit 10. And I went up to her and I said, listen, I thought maybe we have a cop here. I says, listen, I'm trying to get the association back together, you know. Would you mind paying $100? She said, I'll sue every one of you. My realtor told me there was no association, there's no maintenance here. She goes, I'll sue every one of you homeowners. I know that when my friend does title work on the street, he does not know how they closed on a property with no homeowners association. And not only that, but you have no homeowners association and they closed, obviously you had to pay cash for the place to do it. My neighbor's house next door was sold 5 times, but every time it went to attorney review, the deal blew up because they said there's no homeowners association. We recommend you not buying it, okay?
But people are buying and people are selling. All we're saying is that if someone can just help, that's all we're looking for. We're crying out for help. So there's no need to just keep on
Right.
wasting everybody's time.
No, we understand the
Understand.
problem.
No,
We
I just
understand
want you
the
to
problem.
understand that, you know, when I have called the police and say, listen, there's 3 cars parking on the street, and a guy comes down, who the hell are you? This is a public street. And I can get an argument with him where he's actually getting nasty with me, like, you know, I'm like, are you
He
serious?
probably doesn't
Probably
know,
doesn't
he's
know.
mistaken, that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Well,
Because
well,
it does look like a street, I mean, and,
Yeah.
you know, the fact that
Yeah.
we
It's
plow
just-
it and.
Well, I've been here 26 years, and I have no idea what's going on still. And it's
Sure.
frustrating.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for listening.
You're
So
welcome.
sorry.
Just a clarification,
Just-
I don't recall telling you that it was a private, public street. I believe what I said was if it's public, then the town is responsible. I don't know to this day if it's public or private, and I don't know, is Anthony, would
Nobody
that be a
knows.
title issue or title search, or is that something that, what town records would indicate whether or not it's public? Is it simply when that development was made, if there was no dedication as part of the construction through the planning board or zoning board or whoever gave it approval, if there's no dedication, it can be assumed that it's private? If there's no public dedication of
And
the
then
street?
why would they give him permission to do it? Why wasn't it? What happened and why are we're paying
I'm just
for it?
asking
I
the
would think when
question.
you bought the house, or when you bought the
Right.
property, your lawyer should have said something, it should have been the paperwork, that's when it should have happened. It's not the town's fault, you know what I mean, that was a private transaction we're talking about here. So you should talk to your lawyer about why you didn't get notified from him when he went over this with you. That's what I think, and how did you find out, Pete? Did you just look at
It's
documents?
been an ongoing issue going
Oh,
back.
okay.
There was
That's
some
the
kind-
issue. I
there
mean,
was
the
some
town is,
wording
the
where-
town of, well, the township of Saddleburg is not required to go out and tell people, like, this is a private street, this is a public street, I mean, it's just like, that's a little onerous on the township's end. This is a private issue, but I think that a step in the right direction was what they already did. You said you know, you're crying out for help, and that the township engineer, which they didn't even have to, they could have said this is just a private situation, but they're saying that they're gonna have to look at it to see what can be done.
We
Maybe some
appreciate it.
minor
Thank
things
you.
can be done to kind of address it, to give you some relief, rather than like a multi-million-dollar project, which would obviously be a big problem, and
Yeah.
need to be further discussion, but I would think that if Bob says, you know, a couple of things here or there would be sufficient to relieve the issue.
We hope it's something
They may
small.
say, yeah,
We
we'll
hope
do
it's
that.
something small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other issue that I told you, and this I do remember, is you said there was no homeowners association. And what I said is you gotta try and reenact or re-up that homeowner association, because if you think about it, over 10 years, if you're paying even $200 a month per unit, it's 12 units, $2,400. Per unit times 12, it's what's that come out to, like $26,000 a year? Times 10, you got like $250,000 or $300,000. In the meantime, so you're not going, I know you've had knee problems since I've known you, so you're not going out there humping the leaves and lawnmowers and things like that. You give some, you pay a guy a couple of $1,000s a year, but you do that, but really, it's always in situations like that, a homeowners association, and I know from talking to you, for whatever reason, the homeowners association was abandoned, and so you have a unique situation there, where normally the homeowners association would take care of things like that. They would be the one to go out and televise the lines, maybe fix it, go and get somebody to go in and scrape it. But I don't disagree. We can try and do a little research about public versus private, because you're right. If it turns out that it is a public street, that's one thing. If it turns out it's a private street, it's another thing. But I think that if we are gonna undertake any work, and just looking through there, I don't think would be a problem, but if there's any work to be done, all your property owners are gonna have to indemnify the town. You're gonna, if it is a private complex, and the town says, we're gonna do this, God forbid something bad happens, the town's not gonna be responsible for it. You're gonna have to indemnify them and say, listen, we're telling you to do this, we're allowing you to do this. I mean, there is insurance and things like that, but at the same time, I don't think the town can go out there and undertake work that may not be the town's responsibility without having some backing from you guys who are saying, please do it, we understand that there is a risk involved. But I'm in favor of what Karen had suggested.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. It's a rough one. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Seeing none? Motion to close the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mayor?
Hey, gonna give a COVID update. I know we all don't wanna hear it, but I feel obligated to do it. Yesterday, there were another 2,600 plus confirmed COVID-19 cases and 17 new confirmed deaths. And as the daily cases and deaths remain very high, not very high, high. 18 of the state's 21 counties are now considered high risk for transmission. That's up from only 6 in mid-July. So now it went from 6 to 21 counties. Bergen County is now considered a high-risk county. The state 7-day average for confirmed positive test is 2,689, a 7% decrease in the past week, but that's a 12% increase from a month ago. The rate of transmission was 1 on Wednesday, August 3rd. When the transmission rate is 1, that means cases have leveled off at the current numbers. Anything above 1 means the outbreak is expanding. Below 1 is declining, as each new case is then leading to less than 1 additional new case. There were 1,070 patients with confirmed or suspected coronavirus cases reported in the state's hospitals as of Wednesday, August 3rd. Of those hospitalized, 108 are in intensive care, and 34 are on ventilators. The statewide positivity rate for tests conducted last Friday, July 29th, was 13.0. The CDC considers positivity rates above 10% to be high. However, the positivity rate is substantially lower than its peak of 40.83 on January 1st during the height of the Omicron variant. More than 4.7 million people in the state eligible for boosters have received one. That number may rise after the FDA approved booster shots for healthy children between ages of 5 and 11. U.S. regulators authorized a booster for kids, hoping an extra vaccine dose will enhance their protection as infections continue to spread. Regulators have paused plans to authorize a second booster for adults under 50 this summer. Instead, they hope to revamp vaccines to target emerging sub-variants by the fall. our road paving program. We're starting Garden Street tomorrow. Cement work will commence. Also Kenwood Court after that. Mayhill Street should be done sometime mid to late this month. North and South Leswing and Adriana, tonight we have, that's on to be approved. Yeah, Boulevard and Adriana. And also Graham, Sheppes, Spindler, and Skillman should start by the end of the month. Flooding from thunderstorms, that storm on Monday, July 18th, we had several areas of concern. We had some individuals here from Jamrose Terrace at the work session. There's several other locations that are problematic. I want to make everyone aware that there is a low-income household water assistance program. New Jersey has expanded and created new utility bill payment assistance programs for those impacted by the pandemic, including a new low-income household water assistance program, which is funded by the federal government. It provides eligible residents the ability to apply for debt relief of their water and sewer utilities. The program is administered by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. The Saddlebrook Water Department's participation in this program will allow eligible families whose applications are approved to pay down unpaid balances up to $1,500 each for residential water bills. We had our first concert on this month, not in July, I should say. The end of July was a big success. We had a very nice crowd. We'd like to continue offering these concerts for our residents. They're very popular in surrounding towns. I want to thank Recreation Director Andy Gallo and Councilman Andrew Simaluka, who was very instrumental in getting this concert to come to reality. We talked about it in the work session. We do need to do a little better job advertising, so we discussed maybe doing posters to place in local businesses along with our customary notifications. National Night Out was held this Tuesday, August the 2nd. It was hosted by the Saddlebrook Police Department. It was very well attended by residents. The main purpose of National Night Out is to increase awareness about police and public safety programs. It's also a great way for the community to get together and meet and thank all their emergency services personnel who keep us safe daily. The police department was joined by members of the Volunteer Fire Department, Volunteer Ambulance Corps, Fire Prevention Bureau, and Emergency Management. Other local participants included Recreation Department, Community Partnership Committee, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Mayor's Youth Group, and Women's Club of Saddlebrook. There were also representatives from various law enforcement agencies. I want to thank all the members of our police department for planning and organizing the event, especially Sergeant Mark Buchak and Police Officer Kim Diaz. Special thanks also to Captain Officer in Charge John Zatolo. Thanks as well to Fire Chief Jason Sabani, Assistant Chief Dave Melenicki, Emergency Management Coordinator Tom Dickman, who's here tonight, Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator Councilman Todd Accamundo, Fire Marshal Mike Seitz, and all town firefighters. Also Captain Harry Reed and all members of the Volunteer Ambulance Corps, the DPW employees who did a nice job setting up and cleaning up. Also Recreation Director Andy Gallo, my Secretary Christine Generario, who Thomas brought up for their assistance. Lastly, we appreciate all the sponsors and participants for their time and generosity. And I almost left off Thomas Van Winkle for taking the amazing photos, 300 and something. And I don't think there was one of Mr. Simaluka in there. What happened? He did. What happened? What happened? Okay, also, there's going to be a movie night on August the 12th. I don't know what day of the week that is. But the event is being hosted by the Saddlebrook Recreation Cheer and Spirit Leaders. It starts at 6:30 p.m. with a DJ, sand art, and they're also possibly going to do hair braiding. Snacks, drinks, popcorn machine, and hot dogs will be available for purchase. The movie will begin at approximately 8:30 p.m. We are showing Clifford the Big Red Dog. from 2021. They are also charging admission of $20 for up to a family of 5 or $5 per person. This is at Veterans Field, by the way. Also, I mentioned this at the work session, we're going to do a September 11th ceremony. We've been doing it every year for the past several years, so it's in the planning process right now. The 11th falls on a Sunday, so I don't know if we're gonna do it on a Sunday. We gotta go through it, but we'll let you know what the particulars are when it comes closer. And enjoy the rest of your summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Akama.
Well, pretty much hit on everything I was gonna say. Unfortunately, I was on vacation for the concert, but I know the New York State of Mind band. They're excellent. I follow them throughout the county. Like I said, unfortunately, I missed it. It was a great show, great showing. Thank you to Andrew for helping out with that. Also want to thank the county for donating the stage in order for them to perform. National Night Out, I think this probably was the best showing we've had in all the years we've been up here. So that was good. I want to thank all the volunteers, everyone that showed up. Sergeant Buchek for taking the lead on that. I want to congratulate Joe Palazzati and thank the VFW for the plaque. And I also want to thank you, Mayor, for appointing Thomas Dickman to OEM, because I've been on OEM for almost eight years, and I've been to more meetings in the past month than I have in 8 years. So he's definitely taken the bull by the horns on this one, and I think we're going to see good things for our OEM and bring back CERT, whether it's teen CERT, adult CERT. We're definitely going to be recognized in the county. And I just want to thank Tom for taking the lead on that, and thank you for putting him in.
You're very welcome. We gotta find them an office, and now his garage is full of supplies.
We have
We
plenty of
found
space in
him
the new
one.
building.
Right,
We
okay.
did find them.
All right, good.
And I just want to say, just enjoy the rest of the summer. And thank you, everybody. for
Thank you,
everything.
Councilman. Councilman Garrett.
Good evening, everyone. Just a brief reminder that the library is still conducting their survey. You can visit the Saddlebrook Library website to complete the survey. You can also get a hard copy of the survey at the library, town hall, or at the senior center. In addition, the flood committee will be meeting on Wednesday, September 28th, 6:30 at the senior center. New members and residents are always welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
I'd like to give an update on the municipal complex. Today we had our meeting. I was also at the building this morning. We did a punch list walkthrough through the municipal offices. They're all done. We're continuing going forward. They're clean, locks are on the doors, painting is all done. So we have had some supply chain glitches, but we are still on target for September 24th, the grand opening. The tree was cut down, the dead Christmas tree. We will be replacing it with a new Christmas tree. And painting, the power washing has been done. They are working on the imperfections on the outside of the building, and it will be painted. A crew is supposed to be there on Monday. The parking lot will be paved towards the end of August. So as it stands right now, we're on target. I'll be starting to stage furniture next week. We were able to get furniture donated to us, very good furniture, and it is staged in each office. Next week, we will start placing it in the office. Of course, we're not moving in until mid-October, but we are on schedule for the grand opening, and some minor issues, we should be there. And basketball court, we're waiting on the floor, the baskets, the pads, that will be done. So pretty much everything will be done for the public to see it by September 24th. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
I'd like to thank Karen for all the work that she's done. It's, for those who aren't involved in this like we are, you can't believe how much work and hours that she's put into this.
Thank you.
That being said, A lot of people have asked me about the outdoor colors of this building, so could you just let us know what it's going to be? I know you told me at one time, but I forget.
Sure, the base of it is, the whole bottom base is, it looks like white, but it actually has a gray tint in it. Where you see the orange is going to be blue, and the trim, the orange trim is going to be gray. So it's three colors. As I said, the bottom looks completely, it almost looks white. And then where the stripe is, the orange stripe, that will be blue, and again, the trim will be dark gray.
Thank you. The mayor and Todd had touched on a couple of the things. Just the concert, again, Andy Gallo. It's tough undertaking an event like this. There's a lot of hoops you have to jump through. He did a great job doing it. It was a great event for those who attended. The only issue was the attendance was less than I would have liked, and we can attribute that to the heat. Some people may have been worried about the heat. The other thing was it was supposed to rain, and I believe it did rain a little bit that day, so some people might have just made other plans because of the potential inclement weather. Like the mayor said, this is the first time we're doing something like this. So we will attempt to improve communication to the public to try and get more awareness of the event. We've got some ideas that have been thrown around. And for people on social media, just asking, if you know about a good town event, something that would be beneficial to the community, please post it. If you see a Facebook post or an Instagram post, please share it. If you know about it and you're on your own private site, there's a number of them, Saddlebrook Moms being one of them. If you know about it and you know that there's a lot of people that follow you or just the whole group, please mention it. We want to get as many people as possible to these events. So please help out your community by helping us spread the word. The National Night Out was great, and I believe years ago I was always pushing that that Saddlebrook does it, because some other towns did it. And the past number of years, I forget how many years that we've been doing it, but I've been doing this for quite a while, so some time ago, they started doing it, and it's a great way. I believe the number one thing is for our children to get to know our first responders, our police officers, our ambulance corps members, our fire department personnel, on a one-to-one basis. You're there, they're showing you what they do, they're showing you their equipment. It was excellent. Plus there's rides for the kids. It was just a fun family night. I was there with my family, and everyone I saw had a huge smile on their face. In terms, in regard to the speed committee, we did a number of months ago, or maybe about a month ago or so, purchased a speed box, which measures speed on a particular street. I believe it's done by radar. It's no longer the little strip that you drive over and they count it that way. The recent one that we did is on Dana Way, because we did get some complaints about speeding. And rather than just saying, yes, they're speeding on that block, we're gonna do something, or no, there's no speeding on your block. Now we have data to back it up. That data is still being collected on Dana. It should be done next week. Committee will review it, make recommendations to the entire council on how to go about doing something or not doing something. We'll have to see. As we discussed in the work session, speed humps will be going on. There's 4 in this year's program, 1 on Wilson, 2 on Fairlawn Parkway, and 1 on Lanza Avenue near Franklin School. Those are the ones that we have. Other people have requested it, and again, it's for safety and it's for speed. So we have this box. We can get the data at a very low cost. I think the box cost us $5,000. So we could use that, for years and years, and give us the data. And this way, we know what's going on. And that's it for this. I'll have something in new business. For comments, that's all I have.
Before we move on, I would just like to take this opportunity to extend my sympathy and prayers to Pete and his family. Pete's mom, Marion, passed this week, and she certainly was a sweetheart of a woman, and I know we're all gonna miss her. Our hearts and prayers go out to you, Pete.
Thank you,
That's for sure.
Flo. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your understanding during my mother's illness, and to all the condolences we received. It was very comforting. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And unfortunately, to my right also, you have Karen's mother-in-law passed away, former Mayor Lou's mom, also. And our hearts
Thank you.
prayers go out to you, to Lou
Thank
and family also, Karen.
Thank
Never easy. Anyway, okay, move on.
Okay. Ordinances, ordinance 1725-22, an ordinance permitting the Township of Saddlebrook to enter into a sales contract with the Far Hills Bedminster for the sale of a 1997 Pierce fire truck for second reading.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second, roll call.
Councilman Samuel.
Yes.
Councilman Garrett.
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio.
Yes.
Council President Mazer.
Yes.
An ordinance permitting the Township of Saddlebrook to enter into a sales contract with the Far Hills Bedminster Fire Department for the sale of a 1997 Pierce fire truck.
Do a motion?
Motion gets seconded.
Second, roll call.
Councilman Samuel.
Yes.
Councilman Garrett.
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio.
Yes.
Council President Mazer.
Yes.
It's now open to the public.
Do a motion to open to the public?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, the meeting is now open to the public regarding this ordinance. Anyone wishing to be heard?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Omar Rodriguez. I would like to know what is the sales price?
The sales price was
Um,
14.
I believe 15 or 25,000 off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
Hmm.
If you notice, in the past, we've tried to sell by putting ads in the paper. And usually
Is there
no
any,
response or very-
is there any possibility for the future that you just can advertise or bid or put to a bidding? Because I would like to buy
We've
one of
done that.
those
Okay.
and donate it to some poor countries. For that price, I'm willing to buy it.
We've done that in the past, and we've done 5,000, no bid.
Yeah, $2,500 they go for. When you put it out to bid,
Yeah.
it goes out for like 2,000, anywhere from, truthfully, $1,000 to maybe $3,000, those trucks go for. Put
Really?
it out to bid,
Yeah.
yes.
I'll buy them all.
Well, you will, but we wanna try and get as much
We're
money as we
getting more
can.
money this way.
Oh, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, just put it up to the bid, to a bid, I guess, because in other countries it costs a fortune. So I would just like to donate those.
Keep in mind if the next.
Please
time there's a
do
truck.
so. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Motion closed?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance permitting the Township of Saddlebrook to enter into a sales contract with the Far Hills Bedminster Fire Department for the sale of a 1997 Pierce fire truck. This is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance entitled thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samuel.
Yes.
Councilman Garrett.
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio.
Yes.
Council President Mazer.
Yes.
Okay, we have the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or members so request it, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, approval of minutes and applications. The minutes of July 7th, 2022 is not part of the consent agenda.
Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
We're also adding the Bergen County snow plowing agreement as part of the consent agenda. Councilman Samuka?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Council President Mazer.
Yes.
We have the minutes of July 7th, 2022, regular public meeting.
The motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samuka?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Abstain.
Council President Mazer.
Yes.
That completes the agenda.
Old business?
Through the chair,
Yes.
I failed to mention, last Friday, we had, I promoted police officers, from our police department, 2 captains and 2 lieutenants. We need to also promote 2 sergeants, but unfortunately, we don't have a list of eligibles. The results should have been out now, but, by now, but there's a holdup with it. And I don't know what the delay is, but they're saying that it should be shortly. I also want to, before the end of the year, look to raise or to complete the table of organization so that we have a full complement of 34 officers. Right now, we have 31. I'd like to do that. One of the things that I really want to stress, and with our new OIC, I've been doing that. I want to see more community policing, more involvement, public relations, and that's really what National Night Out is. And again, they did a great job. But I'd like to, one of the things that I've been really harping on, I know Mr. Simaluka with the National Night Out, and I remember there was a few years when we didn't do it. And I remember when we did it for a number of years, we used to do it between the parking lot here and the new police department. And it's a really small area, so we had to move all the cars out, and it just wasn't really conducive. Then we ended up moving it to Washington School. That's when we took a break for a while. There was like 3 or 4 years where we didn't do it. And then with Mr. Simaluka's prodding and it was the right thing to do, we moved it over to Washington School on the grounds there. But the new municipal building it's really perfect, and they did a great job. Sergeant Buchak with spreading everything out, so it was nice. It was a big crowd there, but it didn't look like everything was jammed up. It was better the way they did it this time. But also one of the things that I've been harping on, and I still haven't achieved it yet, and I certainly want to do it, is I want to have a junior police academy. And we've been closed a couple of times. It's a little expensive, but most towns, most police departments, they get contributions from the businesses. And I know Elmwood Park, this is their 2nd year they did it. In fact, I know there was one young fellow from I think he's 10 years old. He went through the Elmwood Park program, so I guess they allow. I don't know if they charge, but I know that he went through I saw it on Facebook. So, and we had another couple of kids recently that went through the Bergen County Sheriff's Department. I know Nick Papagala, is it Nicholas? Yeah, but there was another 1 or 2 that, yeah, Barra. Yeah, so it's something we really need to do. So anyway,
Well, if I
thank
just piggyback off that, not to interrupt you, but the Sheriff's Department does a summer youth camp, and it's a shared service. We do shared service with towns that don't have the officers able to attend it due to, staffing. So we do a shared service where you could send like an officer or 2 officers to the county, and they'll do like a boot camp cadences.
no, that's good.
And, but that's something we could also look into also. I think that's a great
No
idea.
doubt, yeah.
Through the chair, if I may
Kids and families
piggyback
love it.
once again on the mayor's comments, I really want to thank, and I think I'm speaking on behalf of the mayor and council, we really couldn't do a lot of this stuff without help from our neighbors. And for the National Night Out, we had it in the parking lot of the new municipal complex. Obviously, that means that there was no place to park. So the owners of 299 Market Street were gracious enough to allow us to have event parking there. Similar to when we have an event at Veterans Field, we have a parking lot, but sometimes it's an overflow crowd, and the owners of Nurasan across the street on Sampson allow us to park event vehicles there. So without that kind of help from our fellow citizens and local business owners, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things we do. So we really, from the bottom of our heart, thank you for allowing us to use your property, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. New business? Anything?
I do have new business. We talked earlier at the work session about, and Mr. Rodriguez brought up any amendments to the cannabis ordinance. I thought this was gonna be on the agenda, but it was not. So what I would like to do is to introduce an ordinance by title for an amendment of the zoning code regarding cannabis operations. Currently, manufacturing operations are permitted in the I zone only. Maybe, I'm sorry, I believe I zone and maybe CH2, but a very limited area. The proposal would be for sort of like micro cultivation. There was an ordinance that was introduced, and an amendment to our original ordinance allowing micro cultivation, which in micro cultivation is 2,500 square feet or less, to be in the zones that we have deemed appropriate for retail. And generally, that's the Route 46 corridor, a certain number of lot and blocks. Although it's not officially termed that, a micro manufacturing, but limiting manufacturing operations of less than 5,000 square feet to those same kind of areas. We did receive a report, albeit this morning at 5:30 in the morning, and we had asked, and the mayor had asked, and I think it was 100% correct, in asking for an opinion from our planner. I believe that the opinion given by the planner in reading it was positive. What I'd like to do is introduce an ordinance by title to amend the ordinance to allow the smaller manufacturing operations, 5,000 square feet or less, in the same areas designated for retail. If passed on reading by title, first reading by title, it would go to the planning board for their input and their evaluation, and then it would come back to the council to vote on it or to consider it for a second reading. And if we need more information, obviously things can be tabled. But I do believe it's appropriate to introduce it by title. The title would be an ordinance in the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and supplementing Chapter 206 of the Township Code, regulating the operation of specific classes of cannabis businesses within its geographical boundaries. And again, this would be to allow small manufacturing operations, again, 5,000 square feet or less, within the same areas that we do permit retail operations. From everything that we've been told, a manufacturing operation is, there are no public admitted to these facilities. It's strictly employees. There's not even any signage on it, which would tell people what's done there. It's unlike cultivation, which may have an odor, with what we've been told, again, with the micro scrubbing filters, there is no odor or fumes, sound that would affect the neighbors. And again, retail operations, my opinion, is more intrusive on the public. There'll be cars coming in and out. You wouldn't expect anyone to be there other than the employees there. It's 5,000 square feet or less. You wouldn't even expect that many employees. So I am introducing that ordinance to be read by title.
Through the chair,
Discussion?
I'm not necessarily opposed to the amendment. I just, what I'm questioning is, I know for a fact that I didn't get a chance to read the 5:30 a.m. email, okay? I was very busy today. I usually am pretty good at that, but I didn't get an opportunity today. I know Mr. Garrett did it. I don't know if Todd did. I just don't know what the rush is. Why are we rushing this? I mean, is it imperative that we put this on the First Amendment tonight?
Well,
I mean, it wasn't on the agenda. I mean, just,
it
okay,
was
I'm gonna
supposed
ask
to
you,
be on the
why?
agenda.
What's the
I thought it
reason?
was gonna be.
That's what I wanna know from you, Mr. Smith. What's the reason? Why are we doing this tonight?
Because we talked about it, it was
We
supposed to
didn't
be on the
talk
agenda.
about it. Mr. Smith, we did not talk about it.
We
We
certainly
talked about it at a special meeting.
Yes,
Yes, we did, for a little bit. And I don't think anybody here, including myself, could have as eloquently, not even close, because I don't really have that much knowledge about it, I'm being honest, okay? I'm a busy man. You know, fault me, but I don't know enough about this. And you say we talked about it, we had a work session, we had National Night Out on Tuesday, okay? We canceled Tuesday's work session. We had a 5:30 work session, we had to rush through it. Did we really talk about it? How much did we talk about it at the work session?
well, not this part, I'm saying on that special meeting.
There we did, I agree with you. But again, like I said, I can't speak about it. I can't tell you why it's a good idea.
What I'm saying is, and
I
How I
agree
put
that, you know, if, I'm sorry. Mr. Suarez did say that it appears that the planner thinks it's a good idea. And, you know, and that's good. And again, that's why I'm not opposed to it. I think it was a great idea, having a professional look at it, getting input. But I just don't know why we have to be, you know, I kind of feel like we're being forced into this, you know?
well, it's a first reading. So the only effect that it has is that it generates the planning board to do their job, and it generates the ability to have a second reading. So putting it off, all it does is really delay everything.
But
We're
why
not
do we care about
locking
it? Why
ourselves.
do we care about it being delayed? Shouldn't we want to be as careful as possible
Yes.
to make sure we have all the information? Like I said, I didn't read it. Mr. Garrett didn't read it. I
It's-
don't know if
It's a
if
three-page,
Ms. Major did.
because it's a three-page report, it's a 3 or 4 page report. Mr. Suarez had basically summarized it. It is a positive report from the planner. He told us that. So I don't think in the month to digest a 4-page report, which we've already been told is positive, that we would need to come back and say that yes or no. I don't think we're locking ourselves into anything. All we're doing is allowing the planning board to review it and allowing us to potentially
I know
vote on
what we're
it for
doing,
a
but
second
why?
reading.
That's what, you're not answering my question. I know what we're doing.
Why not?
And we're not doing anything unlawful or illegal, but, you know, why? That's what I'm asking you, why?
Okay. I rarely agree with Mr. Rodriguez, and he will agree with me that I rarely agree with him. But
But it would be nice that you respond when I ask if there's anything, any amendments.
that's why I said I was gonna do this. That's why you're still here, and that's why I'm doing it now.
But the public don't have there is a lot of questions in there. I would like to ask a lot of
Okay,
questions.
well,
It's
this
not that
is
In any
special
event,
right now.
in any event, because it allows a manufacturing operation potentially to begin the process as opposed to delaying it. Is the world gonna end if it's not done? No, but is the world gonna end if it's voted on? You still have a month to give it to the planning board. You still have a month to look it over, and we will be voting on this potentially in a month from now, as opposed to just arbitrarily delaying it. We could have a difference of agreement, and that's what makes this form of government great. I would like to put it on and have it voted on tonight, and I think it's appropriate to be voted upon.
One concern when the gentleman was here proposing, to change in the ordinance or to change in the resolution, was in regards to the odor. And I asked him to get back to Pete with any municipalities that have been doing this in northern New Jersey. I mean, I haven't heard back, because I'm concerned about the proximity to residents and the odor that may be. We're hearing there's no odor, there's no concerns. And he said, oh, I could find places that they're, you know, that they're doing it close to residential or that there's no problems. And I just was interested in hearing where they are and if there's been any problems there.
And again, we got 30 days to get that.
But, yeah, could I'm a little confused, because if you make the motion, let's say I second the motion, it's gonna be no, no, no.
Well,
Well,
That's
I don't
did
wanna
read it.
say no, no,
I
no.
did read it, because I had the opportunity, unfortunately.
But no, but what I'm saying is if it goes 3-2,
It's still no.
it dies, right?
It dies for now, it can be re-upped next month. It doesn't mean that it dies forever.
I just wanted to clarify that, because if they're saying they didn't read it,
Again, we have an attorney who has basically summarized it, and there's nothing that he indicated in the report that would indicate that the planner, at least, who's our professional, and that's one of the reasons the mayor brought up, let's have an individual, an impartial person, not that we're partial to anything, we're not biased for or against this, but have somebody, one of our professionals, review it and give us an opinion, and nothing in that report, as I read and as summarized by Mr. Suarez, would indicate that there was an issue with it. And I'm not pushing it just to push it. I just think, I like to get things done when they should be done. I don't see any particular reason to stop it. It's not as if this is a second reading and it's too quick and we're binding ourselves into a certain law. Certainly, it's not law. It needs the first reading, it needs planning board input, and then it needs a second, it needs a second reading.
To the chair, yes, it was early, I was up, so fortunately I got to read it. And after listening to the gentleman that came here earlier, who has a license from the state, I mean, from the advice of the report, me personally, I would say yes, because then it gives the opportunity of a guy like that to come in and we could get revenue right away. We don't have to wait for somebody else to come in, like we've been doing since 6-7 months now, waiting for someone to get approved by the state or denied by the state. This guy's already approved, so this is a perfect scenario for a gentleman like that to come in and just start doing what he needs to do. For me, like I said, I read it, I don't know if anyone else read it, so that's just where I just wanted to let everybody know. I mean, we did get it late, but thank you for getting to us as soon as you found it. And that's all I want to say. I just think it's
Hold on.
good
Okay,
report.
so you're making a motion.
Motion introduced by Tom.
Is there a second?
Then I'll second it.
You second it? Roll call.
Do you actually need to read it, Peter? Or do you need me to read it?
No, because it will be part of the minutes. You did read it earlier. We have an introduction of ordinance 1726-22 for first reading. Second reading will be on September 1st, 2022 at 7 p.m. or sooner after the matter can be reached at the municipal building, 93 Market Street. And we'll do the roll call. Councilman Samluca,
Yes.
Councilman Garrick,
I'm gonna abstain.
Councilman Accomando,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darminio,
Yes.
Council President Mazur.
Abstain.
So we have 3 yes.
I have nothing else under new business.
What's that?
This was under new business. I have nothing else under new business.
All right, no more new business right now? Nobody? Okay, motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only. Second, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Meeting's now open to the public regarding just agenda items only.
Omar Rodriguez. I was here before, and I believe that I was truthfully right here asking the right question. If there's gonna be any amendments, any changes, or anything on the cannabis, nobody says anything. I believe that it would be fair for the public and to the residents to know the truth, and not to just be working for something that is tailored. It's obviously that the Raj is saying that Councilman Similuka have something on the hand. He's working for somebody. This is obvious. What is the rush? Just wait, because it's already a zoning. There is already a zoning for cultivation. All you just need to do tonight, you are trying to change to Route 46. You're trying to amend the ordinance, but what is the rush? Is someone going to die, or some of the people that you talk to are not going to come to town if you don't change it to Route 46? The public need to know. This is the first question. You're talking about under 5,000 square feet. In Route 46, tell me how many properties got that space. All of them are bigger than that. Show me 3 lots in Route 46 that are under 5,000 feet to cultivate that. Second question, who assured you that it's not going to smell and it's not going to go into the residential areas? Question number 3, you are talking about micro cultivation. Do you have any experience of any other town doing under 2,500?
First of all, I was just gonna stop you. You keep talking about micro-cultivation. It's not micro-cultivation.
You just mentioned that.
It's manufacturing.
Okay, if you say manufacturing, no. You said it micro cultivation, 2,500 feet, and we can go to the audio and you mention it.
Yes.
So
That-
now,
that is
okay.
now permitted.
Okay,
That is
so but now by going to manufacturing, who in the world is going to tell you that it's not going to smell? How come on something like that, when you're going to amend it and you know that it's a residential area and you're going to affect many residents, don't you think that at least as a courtesy, before you just put it under a title, at least offer the residents a chance to speak up? Because you're not going to live with that. That's going to affect the quality of life. And I don't know who came here to say that it's not going to smell. So are you going to put a clause that if it smells, you close it down? Do you have any experience of any other municipality that are manufacturing and it's not smelling? Can someone just answer me that? There is no research.
Going by their word, too, going by their word. This is
No,
all-
but then if we're gonna go by the word, then everything should be approved, but it's not. That's what you are, the legislator. You can just not take the word, the people that just come to the podium. Because how many times people have come here to propose and to offer anything to the town and they don't deliver. It's totally different. So right here, you're gonna play with the quality of life of many, many residents. This is gonna be a residential area. And it's not just because I live there, but this could happen anywhere in Saddlebrook. That's why originally the manufacturing was happening on one particular area. But just to amend it, just by title and just push it, and just instead of waiting and try to digest it, why is the rush? It is obvious that someone is asking to be changed or to be amended to Route 46. So at least they should be clear. What role are they playing? In benefit of the residents or in benefit to an investor? That's the main question. Because we're not here just by coincidence. He's not just pushing this just because he's a good neighbor. There is an interest being played right here, and there is a lot of money behind it. And I know a lot about this. So please, let's not play with the quality of life of the residents of Saddlebrook. If we're gonna play right, let's do it right. But don't come and tell us that when you manufacture and you're gonna burn it and you're gonna process it, that it's not going to smell. Tell me what kind of equipment they're gonna use it. What kind of installation? Who is going to tell me that the smoke is not going to go out? What about the kids? Are we going to have to force them to smell that? We got a school nearby. Is it going to be affected? So you're going to tell me just because it's 500 feet away, so then nothing will happen? Who will assure our kids, our neighbors, that they will not smell day and night, the manufacturing process? Why? If they already have an area where they can manufacture, why we just taking so lightly an amendment?
Omar, can you wrap
And
up?
I'll wrap it with this, even though the mayor can veto this, at the end of the day, even if he doesn't veto, I believe as a courtesy, you should send a notice to the residents of the affected areas along the corridor of Route 46. That's the least that you can do to the residents. Thank you all.
Omar. Anyone else wishing to be heard? No. Motion to close?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
You guys have it? Anything else? No?
I have to
Good?
respond. First of all, the Route 46 corridor is certainly not a residential zone. It's on Route 46. It was designated for retail. Now, if you're worried about children, Route 46 was designated by our planner as the appropriate area for retail. I would be a lot more worried about a child going into a retail facility or someone under 21 going into a retail facility than a closed-off manufacturing, and you would not have any idea whether they were manufacturing pillows or cannabis products there. In terms of rushing, it's not rushing, you're getting things done. I know in your tenure, you tended to delay, and I know in one instance, you cost the town $400,000 by delaying the purchase of a fire truck because you needed to study it for over a year, and the town got screwed out of $400,000. But that being said, and I like you, just imagine this. The fact that it's going on, you're talking about people, for a first reading, there is no public comment for a first reading. Next month, if we get the appropriate, and again, I will say that all the questions need to be answered, that Mr. Garrick had brought up about some other places that have it, and I agree. If that's not done, I would make a motion to table this unless that's provided and we're satisfied with that answer. But the second reading is when the public is given an opportunity to speak. So if you want to rally your troops and bring them all here next month for a second reading, go at it. Okay? Thank you.
Any other comments? Make a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the summer.
Yes, summer's over.